All right, today I'm here with Lauren Vicat, and you served in the United States Navy, is that correct?
Yes, I did for 4 years.
4 years? Mm-hmm. Like straight out of high school or what?
I went to OTC for a semester, and then I went into the Navy about 3 months after my 19th birthday.
Oh, wow. Planned, or are you just like, I got to get out of here, I need to find something new?
Yeah, I had my junior year, I talked to a MEPS recruiter, and I had been set on it, and then it came around, and I was like, yeah, I'm not leaving. I can't leave my family. I can't leave my friends. So I started OTC, and I was in a allied health program with my high school, so I got credit through high school. And then I got there, and I was like, yeah, school's not for me. And so I kind of just told my recruiter, as soon as you can get me out, get me out. So I left July of 2012, and I was gone.
Wow. What'd you do while you were in the Navy?
I was a bosun's mate, but I was on our flight deck most of the time, so I was a landing signalman enlisted. So
oh, wow.
I told the helicopters where to park on our flight deck. So I had communication with the pilot, and it was pretty cool.
So I always hear that if you're on a flight deck and you mention the words Top Gun, you get into trouble. Was that the same deal? It's like, this isn't Top Gun, kids. Don't be talking about it.
I think I was a little too young at the time to know what Top Gun was. Okay. I didn't really realize what it was until after I got out, but I'm sure that people would have given me a hard time, yes.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Especially the crew that I worked with. My bosun was really old school, and my chief was really old school. So they definitely would have given me a hard time for sure.
Did you spend any time overseas?
Yes, I was actually in Japan all 4 years.
Okay, wow.
So I went to boot camp in July, and I moved to Japan in October.
I bet you loved it.
Whenever I was 19, yeah. It was a culture shock a lot.
Obviously, yeah.
But yeah, it was amazing. It was beautiful. Unfortunately, I was only there for 2 or 3 months out of the year because we were deployed so often. But it was definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Definitely a change.
My best friend, he actually is a Blackhawk helicopter pilot instructor in San Diego now. He's about 2 years left, I think. And then he'll be fully retired because he got in when we were 18. He did the same thing. He went in, they sent him to Japan for 4 years, got it, came back, did officer training, flight school, then went back for another 6. And same deal, out constantly. And yeah, but it was the same kind of culture shock. I was there for about a month, and I loved it. I thought it was an insanely cool country. Capitalism done right, you know what I mean? My
mom was able to come out in July of, I believe it was 2015, and hang out for a couple weeks for 4th of July, and she had never been out of the country, so it was really cool to be able to experience that with my mom too, and kind of show her where I had been leaving for the last 3 years, and I would have been there for 4 years. So
food's incredible,
so good.
Did you pick up any of the language?
No.
None? You know what's fun?
Maybe whenever I got out, I could have told you a couple words, but around base, our base was so small in Sasebo that pretty much everybody around base and within probably 5 miles a radius spoke English, so you never really, and that sounds bad, but you were never really had to pick up the language because everybody kind of just adjusted to us being there, which
it's how the whole country is really. English is the second language, but it's a very strong second. What was weird to me is when I would go into these little mom and pop restaurants, and they'd be all over, let's talk English. I want to practice my English. And I'm like, no, I can speak a little Japanese.
Right.
I want to speak Japanese. And they'd be like, no. And so, but then you'd go into a KFC or a McDonald's, and I'd have the hardest time ordering in those places than I would in Joe and Renee's Crab Shack in Japan. They would be all over trying, and it's a really cool place. The way that J-Pass worked, I loved it because that's literally what I did. I bought the J-Pass for a month, and I went everywhere I could go in Japan for that month, except for being in Tokyo for a week. And that was it.
Tokyo is amazing too. It really blew my mind because here we rely so much on cars, and there, there's bike racks every 10 feet, and just their public transportation is so efficient that cars, they're
it's an extreme luxury.
Yeah,
it's almost like having a boat here.
It's crazy.
It's not, and then gas, all that stuff is
and even for whenever my mom came over there, we kind of walked to the bus stop, and we got on the bus, and we took the train out to wherever we were going, and she was kind of wow, this is crazy, because even my mom in her 50s had never really used public transportation before,
and then once you do it, you're like, why don't we have this?
It's insane. It's so efficient and so cheap, but it was definitely amazing.
I just did a train ride from St. Louis to Chicago for New Year's, and it just broke my heart that we don't have an Amtrak station down here. Because if we had an Amtrak here, we would be connected to the entire United States.
Everything.
But for some reason, Springfield doesn't have an Amtrak
Everything.
station. Poplar Bluff does, which is like, why does PB get an Amtrak station and we don't? Sucks. Because I would love. Think about this just from a Chiefs fan perspective. You could get on the Amtrak at like 5 in the morning. Do all your tailgating on the train all the way to Arrowhead.
Yes.
You get there like 8:30. Put all your stuff in a locker at the station. You get a Z trip to the stadium. Game.
You're good
back,
to go.
Train home.
It's like an Uber.
Why the hell can't we do that?
We can. We just don't.
Sucks.
Yeah. We took the first time I ever rode on a train. I was probably like 8. And we rode in Chicago, and it was like one of those double-decker trains. And I thought it was like the coolest thing ever.
It is
like,
the coolest.
A totally different world.
I'll tell you right now, 37, it's still the coolest thing. It is
pretty neat.
That, by far, the
Now,
coolest
do you
thing.
want some other salad with it? Like some lettuce, tomato?
No, but if there's more, I'll probably take more chili.
But do you want
Because that's literally just like meat, beans,
Oh, I
and
know.
tomatoes.
I know.
That's my jam right
You
now.
can have as much as you want.
I know.
We'll have it ready, but do you
That'd be
want
enough.
crackers?
No, I can't eat it.
Okay, that's what I didn't know. You
No.
want to take them?
No, that's fine. Keep on there. It's
No
good.
tomatoes,
It's good.
anything?
No tomatoes.
Okay, all right. And if you need anything else, just holler.
All right, I think I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. That'll be really funny because it's still recording.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Should I?
Just leave it.
No, just leave it on there. That was Connie. She's lovely. And hi, Connie. So, what'd you do when you got out?
So I got out, and I moved back here in July of 2016. I had my daughter actually in August.
Okay.
So right after I got out. So I worked at Cooper Tennis Complex for
Okay.
about a year. I had my daughter. I started back to school, and I finished my associates at OTC.
Nice.
Then I started at Missouri State in August of 2017, and I've been at Missouri State ever since.
So you're getting close to being done with that too.
Yes, so I have my bachelor's. I finished my bachelor's in May of 2019 in outdoor recreation, and I'm getting a master's in health and wellness, and I'll be done in December 2020.
What's
so,
the goal?
I don't know.
Something
I don't know.
with it?
Yeah, I volunteer with an organization called Team River Runner. That is the branch that is the one we work with most here. Is in St. Louis or up by St. Louis, and we're trying to get one at Missouri State. But they literally just cater to veterans, and it's totally inclusive. So if they're in a wheelchair or whatever the case may be, they literally have kayaks for every adjustment you can make. So I would like to do something with that, going back to just being outside and using outdoor recreation to kind of like assist veterans and combat veterans through like PTSD or whatever the case may be. So using it kind of like an outdoor rehab, I guess.
That's cool.
So I would definitely like to do that. I'm going to try to do my research project for my master's using an EEG machine to kind of see like combat veterans and how being outside changes their brainwaves. So it'll be pretty neat. Hopefully Missouri State's on board with that. So
I can't see why they wouldn't be.
Yeah, so I would be the first person to be able to use that equipment in a research project. So that's kind of the goal. Outside of that, I just kind of go with the flow, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever opportunities I get, I would probably take and just see what happens.
That's cool. Well, thank you for your service. Thank you for coming to lunch with me today.
Thank you.
And it's time to eat.
All right.